Hi, I'm Anne Marie with Speak Confident English, and welcome to your Confident English Wednesday lesson. This week we're looking at used to versus be used to and get used to. These look very similar, but do they mean the same thing in English? Can you use them in the same way? That is what we're going to focus on in today's lesson. These are all extremely common ways of expressing ourselves in English. Native speakers use them every day. And I want you to know exactly what each of these means and how you can use it correctly so that you can communicate effectively and naturally in English. So, our first question is, do these mean the same thing? And the short answer is no, they do not. Used to is completely different from be and get used to. Those two are actually quite similar. So let's start with used to first. We'll look at what it means and how you can use it correctly, and then we'll look at be and get used to. Let's start with a couple of example sentences to see if you can identify how we use used to. What does it mean in the sentence? And what is the grammatical pattern that we use? For example, I used to drink coffee, but now I only drink green tea. I used to drink coffee, but now I only drink green tea. Or she used to live in Los Angeles, California, but now she lives in Chicago. She used to live in Los Angeles, but now she lives in Chicago. So, what do you think? How are we using these two words? What do they mean? Hopefully, you've identified that we use used to talk about things in the past, actions, situations, or states of being. We'll talk about that in a moment. That are no longer true. They're no longer happening. They were in the past. Now, a state of being is sort of like being happy or being stressed, being sad. It's not an action. For example, he used to be really happy in his job, or he used to love his job, but now he's always stressed. So now you have three example sentences. I used to drink coffee, she used to live in LA, and he used to love his job. Can you identify the correct grammatical pattern that we use with used to? Thankfully, this grammatical structure in English is very easy. It is simply used to plus the most basic form of the verb. I used to go. I used to drink. She used to eat. We used to watch movies every Friday, but now we are too tired or now we do something different. It is very, very simple. Used to plus the most basic form of the verb. So now let's move on to be and get used to. As I said, these are very similar, but they have a completely different meaning than used to. To be used to something is to say that you are accustomed to it. It's normal for you. It's not unusual or strange or weird. It's part of your normal everyday life. For example, I'm used to getting up every morning at 5 a.m. I'm used to getting up every morning at 5 a.m. That simply means that it's totally normal for me. It is my normal daily routine. Sleeping late would feel very strange. I would feel that I lost part of my day. Or another example, she's used to going to yoga every morning. She's used to going to yoga every morning. It's just, again, part of her normal everyday life. It feels comfortable and normal to her. Now, get used to is very similar, but it's more about the process of becoming accustomed to something. It takes time. Something was really odd or strange, unusual. Now, not so much, but it's not totally normal either. It's somewhere in that process of becoming normal for you. For example, imagine that you live in a country where you don't use a lot of spices in your food, and suddenly you travel to India or Thailand for a month, and there's curries and peppers in everything. You might need to get used to all of the spice in the food. It might take some time. It might be unusual and different and hopefully very, very exciting because that's an explosion of amazing flavors. But it might take some time. Or the same is true when you travel to another time zone. If you live in Australia and you travel to the United States, it's a huge difference between time zones, and you'll probably suffer from jet lag. When you travel that far, it takes time getting used to the time differences, the time zones. Now, a couple of rules about be and get used to. We can use these in the past, present, or future tenses. For example, when I was younger, I was used to waking up every morning at 5 a.m., but now it's a little bit too early for me. Or for example, maybe you're moving to a brand new country soon and you're feeling a little nervous about cultural differences, language differences. So your friend might say, "Oh, don't worry, you'll get used to it quickly." You'll get used to it quickly. Now, with these examples, I'm used to waking up every morning at 5 a.m. I'm used to going to the gym in the mornings. I'm getting used to the spicy food, or I'm getting used to the time zone differences. Do you notice any patterns, grammatical structures in those sentences? Hopefully you've identified that after those keywords, be or get used to, they are followed by a gerund. A gerund are those nouns with ing. I'm used to waking up. I'm used to going. I'm used to eating. I'm used to drinking. Or a noun or pronoun. I'm getting used to spicy food. I am used to the time differences. In all of those examples, it's followed by an ing or gerund or a noun or pronoun. And now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. I want you to practice using these expressions so they start to feel completely normal to you. I want you to get used to them. So take some time to practice, and the best place to do that is in the comment section just below this video. It's the best place to interact and get feedback from me and to interact with the Confident English community. Read what others have to say, even ask questions, learn from each other. So here's what I want you to do. First, tell me about something you used to do or something that used to be true. Again, you're focused on the past, something that is no longer happening or true. And then tell me about something that you are used to or that you got used to over time. What was it? And then use an example in the past, present, or future. If you have additional questions, again, the best place to do that is just to ask them in the comment section. I do read them all and respond. And with that, thank you so much for joining me. I love having you here every Wednesday. And I'll see you next week for your Confident English Wednesday lesson.